Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video tutorial. This will be a continuation of the previous board that we will be dealing with the central cannon versus the Mandarin duck cannons as shown over here. In the previous board, there were two main variations that have already been discussed. One will be H8 plus 9, the other will be H8 plus 7. Today we will go over C8 equals to 6 and C8 plus 2. So, and before I forget, this is based on the book Deception and Countermeasures by Master Wenqing and Grandmaster Zhang. And this is part of a trilogy, and it has been one of the most popular and important books on opening theory in Xiangqi for the past 3 decades. So without further ado, let us begin. Central cannon, proper horse, proper horse. As mentioned earlier, this will be the 7th pawn advancement variation of the Mandarin duck cannons. So far, Black has not shown which defense he will use. Red continues as planned, and Black make the hallmark move in the Mandarin duck cannons, whereby the chariot will protect the cannon in this manner. Variation A, variation B, and today we'll go over variation C, whereby red will play C8 equals to 6. C8 equals to 6 will become the 5-6 cannons, and red would solidify his cannon rank. And another more important use of this cannon is to block Black's cannon, because one of the most important tactics that the Mandarin duck cannons will use will be to play C2 minus 1 followed by C2 equals to 8. With this red pale corner cannon, when Black retreats the cannon, he could play C6 plus 6 and thus halt or slow Black's counterattack. Now this is also one strategical consideration for playing this move. And Black, since Red had played C8 equals to 6 and showed that he might be prepared for C2 minus 1, Black would develop his chariot as a foul chariot. Proper horses. And as Black's plans to retreat the cannon were simply foiled, Black would choose to adopt the 3-step tiger formation and allow for development of this chariot in this file. Now this would show the flexibility of the Mandarin duck cannons to adopt different formations as need be. Now P7 plus 1 is advocated. Now this will be a step-by-step, slow but steady approach to the game. Another possibility would be to play C6 plus 2. C6 plus 2 would threaten to play C6 equals to 1 to capture the Mandarin the chariot, and after which, after forcing Black to play P9 plus 1, Red would play P5 plus 1 to attack from the central file. Now Red would continue to attack from the central file, and this would be a relatively proactive approach to the game, which is also viable. Unfortunately, not much was said about this variation. Instead, P7 plus 1 was studied in detail. So if C8 P7 plus 1, Black would develop his left chariot for the screen horse formation. Red would go for the trailblazer horse, move the horse to the riverbank, and Black would attempt a fork with R2 plus 6, preparing for R2 plus 2. Black will protect the cannon in this manner, attempting a fork and threatening to capture the horse. And Red will counter in this manner to protect the horse. This move is made out of strategical considerations, because Red was striving to control the focal points of the board. Now, H6 plus 8 would not be a good idea, because this horse would not have many good places for further development, and Black would simply play C1 minus 1 and also continue with C1 equals to 8, and thus fulfill his plans of moving his cannon and concentrating material on this flank. The red horse will not be a threat for the time being and will be vulnerable to attacks by the Black chariot. So that is why h6 plus 7 is not a good idea. And instead, red should protect their horse in this manner. Again, black will go for c1 minus 1, and this was a subtle but deadly counter by black. It would not be a good idea for black to attack very aggressively with h7 plus 8, hoping to trade material, because red will simply capture the central pawn, capturing the chariot, delivering a check, and like red would have gained back lost material. So after a clever trade of material, red would now have one chariot, two cannons, two horses. Black would also have one chariot, two cannons, and two horses. But red's material is now commanding. It's very nice. It is commanding the focal points of the board, whereas black's uh, cannon and horse on this file would be a major issue for further development, and red would have the initiative. Sorry. So black would decide to counter subtly with c1 minus 1. Red will adjust his formation, threatening to capture the uh, black chariot with c4 plus 1. And black plays a very nice sacrifice with this move. Or this would be a trade of horses, sorry. So this is a very tricky move, but black counters very nicely. So at this point, red is forced to capture the black horse for the trade-off. Now, would it be possible for red to continue with r2 equals to 4, still hoping to play c4 plus 1 to capture the black chariot? No, because black would simply go for c1 equals to 4 and threaten to counter gain material. So black could have seized the initiative away from sorry, from red. r4 plus 5 is not a good idea. Black will simply move his cannon back and pin the cannon to the central file, and black will lose the chariot. The chariot cannot move, cannot advance. This will be guarded by the chariot. This will be guarded by the horse. So black will be forced to use his chariot to capture the red cannon, and either way, this will be equivalent to a loss of material for black, and red would have a significant advantage. So the better move will be c1 equals to 4, and red would be in all sorts of trouble. So after forcing a trade of material, in comparison, black's chariot is much more threatening than red's chariot because it is in the center of the board. So let's say red tried to counterattack in this manner. Black would simply choose to trade material, and usually black would retreat his cannon. It would not be a good idea to accept the trade, because after trading material, the situation on the board would become drawish. Both colors would have the same amount of material, but development of the other pieces would be a major issue. So by retreating the cannon, red can threaten to capture the black chariot, and he would try to gain some initiative in this attack. Now black will move his cannon away to safety, and this will be a safe approach to the game by choosing to consolidate the defense with e7 plus 5 to prevent the pawn from being captured. Red cannot capture the pawn, or black will simply retreat his cannon. If red tried to advance his cannon again, black would simply trade material. And after trading material, the cannons will be attacking this file with much ferocity, while also still threaten to capture the red cannon forcing another trade of material. And as can be seen, red will lose material to this black play, because now the cannon will be attacking the chariot and the black chariot will be attacking the red cannon. Now either way, red will lose material because this cannon is protected by the black cannon over here. They are linked. So red will lose material and probably the game. So that is why the e7 plus 5 will be a safe approach. And black will play r9 equals to 6 to develop his chariot. And this will be a standoffish position on the board. Black's situation is quite strong. It has managed to concentrate 3 major pieces attacking this flank. And it will be more of a flank game in the near future. Now, but black's situation is not weak, and black should be satisfied with such an outcome. So this would be variation C equals to 6 for the 5-6 cannons. In the last variation, we will discuss C8 plus 2. Now again, this would threaten to capture the chariot, so black must play P9 plus 1 and use up one move. This is another reason why the Mandarin duck cannons can be problematic at times. Now if this were done, red would immediately start to attack the central file with P5 plus 1. This is a very tightly knit continuation of red's attack. Now this will not give black any chance to adjust his formation. Let's say if black tried to continue with C2 minus 1, threatening to capture the chariot, the horse, protecting the horse, and after pinning the horse, red would now push the central pawn forward as part of his plans. Now at this point, there were two major sub-variations that were discussed. The two sub-variations are C2 equals to 8 and C2 equals to 5. In C2 equals to 8, black would simply try to capture the red chariot, but red will play aggressively with P5 plus 1. This is a necessary move to make. Red cannot play P5 equals to 6 because black will take the opportunity to consolidate his defense, and the black chariot would now be developed. Red's left flank would, in comparison, be vulnerable. And as can be seen, black would gain back lost material. The cannon would have no place to go. If it advanced, the black cannon would capture the red cannon, and at this point in time, the situation is unfavorable to red because black would have got all his major pieces out into action and commanded some very important lines. So P5 equals to 6 is not a good idea, and P5 plus 1 should be played instead. And black should defend with A4 plus 5. C equals to 5 would not be a good idea to resolve this check because black will simply trade material and move his cannon away, preparing to attack from the baseline, a check, and red would take the opportunity to consolidate his defense. So A4 plus 5 to counter the check will be a good idea, and black will continue to make mischief with P5 equals to 6, forcing black to move either one of the elephants. E3 plus 5 will be more favorable. He cannot retreat the advisor or it will be a double cannons checkmate. So at this point in time, black could boldly sacrifice his chariot to take out the cannon. Now, red cannot show even a bit of concession by playing R2 equals to 1. The reason for this is because if he did, black would play H7 plus 6 and this horse would be a significant threat to red. So red would be in all sorts of trouble. So instead, red will sacrifice the chariot and force a pin over here. So this would in fact be red's chariot trading for black's 2 pieces. As can be seen, black's chariot and horse are pinned, and it will be very difficult, take much effort for uh, black to try to shake off this pin. And because of the awkward formation of the Mandarin duck cannons, this cannon would have trouble being developed. On the other hand, red would now be prepared to storm the central file by linking his horses for attack. So red would have a significant advantage by this point. So variation for A would be c2 equals to 4. If black tried to counter with c2 equals to 5, this is a very tenacious counter, and as can be seen from the variations here, it is also quite an interesting one. So let's say red continued with p5 equals to 6. Black would develop his chariot, red would develop his horse, and this would be a attempt for a counterattack by black, hoping to gain some material with this fork. However, the material over here was congested, and that is the best that black can do in this situation. Red develops the chariot to offer a trade of material, as he is not afraid of black's fork. After delivery of fork, again red would sacrifice his chariot in this very beautiful manner. This is a pseudo-sacrifice, because if the chariot captured it, red would capture the horse, as I will explain slightly later on. It would not be a good idea to play h7 plus 5 at this point, because black could deliver a check, and the chariot would still be protected. But at this point in time, we can see that red would have gained material and is prepared to gain more material. Because now the cannon was attacking the chariot, and this chariot was attacking the cannon while the black horse was pinned. If elephant was moved, say e3 plus 5, red would simply gain material with r2 plus 7. If the cannon moved away, offering a trade of material, red would simply accept it, and this horse would be the next target of attack. Red would have an extremely favorable position. So if h7 plus 5 cannot be played, black should not let his guard down by playing p3 plus 1, because red will capture the pawn, capture the trade on material, and as can be seen, black will be able to protect the chariot in a nick of time. At this point in time, black would have gained material 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, red will only have 3. And the variety of the black pieces, it has 1 cannon, 1 chariot, 1 horse, etc., will be much better than red's 2 chariots and cannon combination. So that is why p3 plus 1 should not be played. At this point, r8 plus 3 would be a good idea. r8 plus 8 would not be a good idea, because black would simply retreat his horse, and he would sacrifice the pawn, threatening to go for checkmate. b7 plus 1, a necessary move to make. Black would quickly take the opportunity to decongest his palace. Red would attempt an attack from the bottom rank. A check. This is a prophylactic move to prevent or defend against a possible c5 c5 equals to 2 by black. As can be seen, r2 equals to 6 will be a very nice move, as red is prepared to play r plus equals to 5 to take the advisor by force, and then go for checkmate. So Just to take note, red cannot play r2 equals to 7 because black will simply chase the red chariot away, and black can defend against red's aggressions very nicely. So black would now also be prepared to counterattack or stop this flank. So that is why um, black will be okay if red play r2 equals to 7. At this point in time, black can continue to defend stubbornly with r9 minus 1. So back to the p3 plus 1 is not a good idea, and that is why backtrack a little bit more. Red sacrifices the chariot in a very nice manner. Okay, at this point in time, red must make this move. He cannot play r9 equals to 8, or this would be a cannon fork, attacking both chariots at the same time, and red would have gained back lost material. Not only so, he'll be now preparing to storm the flanks. So r2 equals to 1, treat chariots. Red would now take the chance to develop his horse, attack the black chariot. And then this horse, a trade of material. R3 equals to 5 should be played. It is not a good idea to try to preserve his horses with h3 minus 5 because black will simply make this move. By developing the horse in this manner, let's say if black captured the red horse, black would simply capture the other horse, and this situation will be even more unfavorable for black. The red chariot would now be a menace, preparing to capture all the pawns to have a significant pawn advantage. So that is why black should accept the trade of material. After trading material, black can advance his horse for a counterattack. Capturing the pawn will allow red to threaten to capture the central pawn again and capture the black chariot. This is why black would have to move an advisor for defense. And let's see, after capturing the pawn, red would now still be attacking with the central cannon. The pawn, neither color has a pawn advantage, both colors have a full guard, but the pawn that has crossed the river would now become a significant threat for red, and red would also prepare to capture the black edge pawn. So as can be seen, a short recap. Today we discussed c8 equals to 6, and if played correctly, black would still have a playable position. Now, if in variation D for the rear-wing cannon, there are two major variations. One would be to attack with the cannon c2 equals to 8. The other would be to play c2 equals to 5. In c2 equals to 8, if played correctly, red would apply a very powerful pin to black's horse and chariot, and the chariot will also protect the pawn, and red will have significant advantage because his horses are now ready to go. In variation D, c2 equals to 5, this would be a more tenacious counter by black. And if played correctly, red will still have a advantage and be prepared to attack the pawn, etc., and go for perhaps even a iron ball checkmate. So this will wrap up the last two variations in the Mandarin cannons with 7-pawn advances variation. So I hope you've enjoyed this rather lengthy video and all the the videos on unorthodox openings recently. If you like my work, please do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.